Hello, welcome back to House of R. I'm Joanna Robinson. Joining me today after she has bribed me into doing my job, it's Mallory Rubin. Hey, Mallory, how you doing?
The bad babies cried for a podcast, Joanna, but Awa did not come. You did, though. And so we're making a podcast today.
Phrasing. All right. It's a holiday gift swap episode wherein Mallory Rubin persuaded me to watch Avatar Fire and Ash, aka Do My Job. And I persuaded her to watch Interview with the Vampire Season 2.
You didn't have to persuade me at all. It was an absolute pleasure.
We engage in theater the way that we engage in theater. So Mallory watched all of Interview with the Vampire Season 2. I watched Avatar Fire and Ash, roughly the same in runtime, I would say. And also, we're going to talk about Steve Rogers. All of that and more after this.
This episode of House of R is presented by Target. Stranger Things has returned to Target, and it's time to visit Hawkins for the final time.
Step back into the 80s with righteous exclusives like a Funko Pop of Steve and the Squawk Van, the epic Squawk satin bomber jacket, and the Stranger Things You May upside-down capsule shaped like a walkie-talkie.
New items are dropping all season long, so prepare for one last adventure at Target.
All right, I'm very excited to dig into Interview with the Vampire Season 2, and I am grudgingly here to talk to you about Avatar and Fire and Ash, a film that I did pay for and I did see. Before we get into that, though, let's talk about some programming reminders. Listen.
Great.
It's the end of the year. Are we done? No, we're not. Because there's several more episodes of Stranger Things that are coming out, and we are going to cover them.
That's right.
In one way or another. We haven't fully figured out exactly our release strategy, but we will have several episodes left this year into the new year about the Volume 2 and Volume 3 of the final season of Stranger Things.
We're covering both volumes with how many episodes we'll see, but something will be there for you right away. We know that.
Instantaneously.
Yes.
You're going to avoid your fam, go binge watch a bunch of episodes of television, then listen to a 4-hour podcast from us. What could be more in the holiday spirit?
Something right away off of Volume 2, I should say. Probably not right away off Volume 3, given that we don't anticipate having the ability to watch that in advance. So we will be watching alongside.
Give us a little bit of New Year's grace.
Give us a minute for that one.
Yeah,
but
give us a little New Year's grace.
Volume 2 will be there. We'll be there.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting screeners for that New Year's Eve episode. So, okay. So that's what we have planned for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and Heated Rivalry also, Joe, over on the Prestige TV.
Over on the Prestige TV feed. Listen, I just recorded a Prestige episode with Rob Mahoney this morning. He told me you were out there in the wild in Los Angeles just handing out those Heated Rivalry takes for free.
This is what I was telling you. Like, it's just the talk of the town. It's the talk of the town.
Was this like a holiday party? You and Mahoney were like...
Yeah. Well, I was trying to engage him on Landman, as always, and he is a little behind, so we put a pin in that, and we will be resuming those conversations in short order. But everyone was ready to talk about Heated Rivalry.
Oh my God, the fact that he has watched any Landman before Heated Rivalry really bums me out. Anyway, listen.
Dude,
if you want to get
Mallory's... Season 2, it's peak television. It's peak television.
Listen. You don't get any Landman takes from me this year. You get Avatar takes from me this year. It's only one or the other. And that's all I have in me. All right. So listen, Mallory's official codified for the podcast Heated Rivalry takes have been recorded over the Prestige TV feed. They will be out this Saturday for episode 5, the incredible episode 5.
So good.
That we both loved. Yeah. And then we'll be watching the finale.
I can't wait.
Which neither of us have seen yet, and covering that also next week. So we will have Stranger Things for you next week on this feed. We will have Heated Rivalry for you on the Prestige feed. There will be Pluribus content over on the Prestige feed. A lot of holiday goodies for you. Before we get to any of that juicy goodness, though, we have to get through Avatar. Where can folks follow us? I'm almost at the end of my Avatar journey. I'm like mere hours away from not having to talk about this again. Where can folks find all of this great content from us, Mallory Rubin?
Hey, thanks for asking.
You're welcome.
Here's what I would recommend. Do you want to know what we're up to on the holidays? It's making podcasts. You want to know what those podcasts are? Check them out, and here's how. Follow the pod. Follow House of R. Follow the Prestige TV podcast. Follow the Ringerverse on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. You can watch full video episodes of House of R and the Midnight Boys, pew, 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 and the Prestige TV podcast on Spotify. And you can watch our video episodes on YouTube.
Sure.
Subscribe to the Ringerverse YouTube channel if you haven't yet. Subscribe to the Ringer TV channel if you haven't yet. While you're at it, follow the Ringerverse on the social media platform of your choosing. And we're not here to tell you what that should be.
We all conducted ourselves like totally normal humans on podcasts this week. Everything was fine.
It was great. This was a wonderful week of podcasting. I had a blast. Send your emails while you're at it. We want to hear from you about everything always. We really want your Stranger Things emails because we are going to, as mentioned, be covering this in real time, real-ish time. So send us, there's like a brief window between the volume 2 and volume 3 drops. Get us your theories. When you watch the finale and this decade-long journey has concluded at last, tell us how you're feeling about it. What's on your mind? What are you going to be carrying with you forward? What are you thinking back on? We want your emails about Stranger Things. And then, you know what? It's not too early to start looking ahead to the new year. We're not too far away from our annual tradition, the hype draft. What are you looking forward to? Tell us. We're not too far away from Buffy season 3. Get the emails going. We're not too far away from a Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I mean, we're going to be living in January. It's going to be the best.
January's nuts. There's also the pit and industry. There's just like a lot of things happening. Absolutely
wild.
Bananas. All right. So
hobbitsanddragons@gmail.com.
hobbitsanddragons@gmail.com. You have not sent us any Avatar emails, alas, alack, but we did get some Interview with the Vampire emails just from people being like, season 2 is the absolute fucking best. And will you be covering season 3 in its entirety? And the answer is yes to both of those things. Spoiler warning.
Will we be doing it in the form of song?
Musical pod every week. Stay tuned.
What do you think? Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Email us, hobbitsanddragons@gmail.com if you want to hear me warble my way through my tears of Interview with the Vampire season 3. Okay. Listen, spoiler warning.
Yes.
The Avengers trailer that was in front of Avatar, we will discuss briefly. The Odyssey 6-minute prologue, we did not see.
Nope.
Because I guess that was an IMAX only and we did not get that memo. So neither Mallory nor I saw the Odyssey 6-minute prologue. We wanted to talk about it today. We will not be able to because that is not something we saw last night at our screenings. But that's a warning for you. If you're like, I'm only in it for the Odyssey prologue, I guess you got to pony up for IMAX. So fair enough, Chris Nolan, you win again. Okay. Avatar Fire and Ash, spoiler warning. Interview with the Vampire season 2, spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. These are the 3 sections. We will announce what sections we're doing at the top of it. But that is what we were talking about here today. That is the podcast title of this episode. That is what we are here to discuss.
You're so excited to talk about Avatar Fire and Ash. You can't wait. You're thrilled.
Let's go now to our brief reactions to a very, very brief teaser trailer for Avengers: Doomsday. If it wasn't already ruined for you on the internet, because it did leak a little early.
Yeah.
Were you spoiled on what was in this Avengers Doomsday teaser?
So I knew that we were going to be getting multiple trailers over multiple weeks. By the way, I would say trailer is
teaser.
Yeah, teaser. These are micro glimpses.
Boosh.
Character-centric appetizers for the Doomsday Countdown. So I knew that we were getting 4 over 4 weeks. I knew that they were going to be character-specific. And in a way that, I gotta say, even in the era of life on the internet and you should be expecting things flying at you all the time, and there was not a fiber of our beings, not a bone in our bodies, not a cell of blood in these flesh sacks that thought there was a chance Chris Evans was not going to be returning as Steve Rogers, Captain America in Avengers Doomsday. I wish that I had gotten to just sit down and have him, his face, his bike, the house, everything pop on the screen and feel that kind of indescribable feeling that you get as a fan of a story when you realize a character you love is back in your life. That is not exactly how I felt when I discovered that the first trailer would be a Steve Rogers trailer while scrolling Instagram 2 days ago and seeing multiple reports and aggregations that the Cap trailer was coming. So that's just, life in the modern digital era, and so it goes. That was how I found out. I had not actually watched it online, though, because I still wanted to see it on the big screen because I knew I would be there and have the opportunity to do that. I thought we might get a Spider-Man trailer.
I also thought that because that also leaked online. There are a bunch of leaks online. The Spider-Man trailer, the Avengers Doomsday teaser, and the Odyssey prologue is online, but I haven't watched any of it. I
do not want to see it that way.
In the grainy leaked
wrong.
versions. Mostly because I thought I was going to pay to see them in theaters yesterday, and I did not get them. I got 2 trailers for the Pixar film Hoppers, which, putting that in front of Avatar was pretty smart since it's basically Avatar. And then this Avengers Doomsday teaser. Like, that's it. That's all I got was the Hoppers trailer and this Avengers Doomsday teaser. And then the lights went down. I was like, oh, are they bringing the lights down for the Odyssey prologue? And then no, the fucking movie just started. I was like, oh, well, here we are.
We had a pretty good trailer slate in front of this movie. I will say it just in general was like, wow, there's a lot of cool movies coming. Some of, I think actually most of which I had seen already. Like, of course, we got Project Hail Mary, which we've seen and talked about with each other many times. But anytime
I did get a Mando Grogu trailer.
Oh, you did? Fun. Yeah. I didn't get that. I wish I had gotten that on the big screen. But seeing my sweet Rocky there, always a joy. Got to see, obviously I had watched it when it came out online a few days ago, but got to see the Supergirl trailer on the big screen. Mm-hmm. So that was very fun. I think that trailer is pretty good, and I'm excited for that movie. And my beloved Crypto, just, the star of the show as always. So that was fun. But yeah, I thought, all right, Spidey still maybe. And then, of course, the recognition that the realization that the Odyssey teaser would only be in IMAX. And then I did when I left the theater. I was like, is there an IMAX starting? Can I get a ticket? Can I go? Yeah. But the timing did not align at that particular theater. And I had seen, we'll talk about the 3D, 2D of it all when we get to the Avatar chat, but I had seen Avatar for the first time at the screening in 3D. And so both because I'd already seen it in 3D and actually wanted to compare 3D to 2D as a viewing experience, but also because I went last night with my husband Adam and he cannot see 3D. He has the, yeah. So we weren't going to end up in an IMAX 3D showing last night no matter what. But
it was always going to be 2D for me. I probably would have tried to go if I had known the Odyssey prologue was only in IMAX theaters. Should that have been my job to know? Probably, but here we are. Okay, listen, we have a lot to get to, so I don't want to linger too long here, but I will just say the notes that I wrote in my phone, and then I put it away for the rest of the movie and also watch on cinema mode, obviously. But I was ready to take Odyssey notes on my phone on dim, but didn't work out for me. Anyway, the Steve Wiglet back. That's what I wrote. Those are my sum total of my notes. We got the bike. We got the house that we recognize. We got the uniform in its sort of sad, deflated state. And then we got a bebe and a countdown clock. Baby. And that is the, did you expect to see Peggy? Were you thinking you might see her? What do you think?
I really had no expectations at all, honestly, for I have no expectations for what will be in any of this. I think it's a fascinating strategy. Stop me if you've heard this before. I'm of two minds and I'm at war with myself. So when it became clear that the Doomsday trailers were going to be in our lives in December of 2025,
right? What would they have
calendar
to show us?
Year, one calendar year before the movie came out, and crucially, before properly releasing Spider-Man trailers, I was like, this is actually a little strange to me, because what if this movie moves and dates are announced and trailers are out and the movies move all the time, but the head-to-head with Dune, it just seems like something's moving on that calendar around that time. But it really feels like we should be starting the drumbeat for Spider-Man. So that felt odd to me heading into the theater, but also there's a part of me that's like, of course, Marvel wanting us to get excited for a new Avengers movie with all of our favorites returning is the most logical and natural impulse in the world. When the countdown clock hit, forgetting even just the Steve Rogers of it, which of course is exhilarating, that countdown clock ticked from 1 second down from 1 year and then second. And I was like, this is what it feels like to be alive. This is the best. So
you're excited. You're all in. You're like, this is going to be great despite what Marvel has been recently. Steve is back. They're going to do a Thor one of these. They're going to do a Doctor Doom one of these. I forget what the fourth one is supposed to be.
Joanna, if they gave us, because this cast is fucking gigantic. I haven't checked the math on whether they could actually do 52 of these, but if they gave us one a week from
one
now
per
until
folding chair.
Yeah, exactly. One per chair.
Yeah.
per one a week from now until this movie comes out, let me tell you something. I would be fucking delighted. And I think the fact that it was so contained and it really was just, we're not going to be like really showing you a lot of footage, really telling you much about what this movie is going to be about or how it's going to function. It is a reminder to you. It is an appeal to your nostalgia. It is an appeal to the love in your heart.
You used to love us.
Yeah, come back. Come back into this seat and be with the people you miss. So seeing Cap, it's the perfect way to start. It's just perfect. And like, the house, the bike, the uniform, the wiglet. I thought of you with the wiglet immediately. Yeah. It's just like, we miss Steve Rogers. We miss Captain America. I can't wait to find out what they're going to do with all the timeline shenanigans. And will they definitively answer all the questions we've had for years? Probably not, but that's okay. We're going to be back with Steve, and that'll be in some ways enough. So, and in other ways, they need to do a lot of stuff beyond that to make a good Marvel movie.
We need Mallory Rubins of this world, and we need your hope and sunshine for my cynicism. But
you know how I felt about the Doom announcement. I had plenty of cynicism around that, mixed with joy. But this is like
you're not always you have so many brains in your head. You're not like whatever. I like that you have a hope springs eternal attitude, and I'm like, this makes me a little sad that they feel like this is the only way that they can get people interested in their storytelling is to be like, it's no like question. It was before when you liked us, you know?
No question. That's a very top of mind for me, and I think still is with, it's of course wonderful to have Downey back, and I'm intrigued, I guess, to see what they do with Downey as Doom, but the like kind of creative bankruptcy of feeling like there's no successful path to a new story at that scale is deflating. I think that is true and remains true. And obviously, the more of our favorites return in that form, the truer it will be. I think that it's also true that when you see Steve Rogers as Captain America back on the big screen, it just activates something inside of you as a Marvel fan where you're like, I hope they can give me that feeling again. If that's the only way they can give us that feeling again, that will be disappointing. But we know it's not, because like we just talked a couple days ago about how much we loved Thunderbolts, for example. So, I think that I remain hopeful that Doomsday can tap back into something that lights up that shared experience for Marvel fans, and then they can build from there into like the X-Men era. That would be great. My dream.
We love it when the stuff is good, so I hope it's good.
If this movie's bad or only ends up feeling like a nostalgia play, it's devastating, But tough. I'm living the hope until they give me a reason not to.
I will say I'm excited for Spider-Man. Like, I think Spider-Man is going to be good.
Can't wait.
I'm just much more skeptical about this, but we're getting this Steve teaser. They're doing a Doom teaser, a Thor teaser, and then they're going to do a more comprehensible, like actual trailer style teaser. So hopefully those will be. I'm not going back to the theater for Avatar 3 more times. Let me tell you what. So hopefully those will be released online and we can watch them and then talk about them eventually. But that is the current plan. Anything else you want to say about Steve? Well, here's my question. This is more like a meta Hollywood business question, but like this has been the chatter for weeks, months now, which is like, surely either Dune 3 or Avengers Doomsday has to move.
Yeah. Yes.
So this is a game of chicken.
Yeah.
Do you think they put that clock on there to be like, we're committed. You can't make us move. We've got a countdown clock.
I do. And I wonder if that's a miscalculation that could lead to something very embarrassing, honestly.
Deeply.
If I had to put a bet on the board, my bet would, neither of these movies is going to give up IMAX. There's just no way. And they're not going to go head to head. There's no way. That would be so reckless and irresponsible to go head to head for no reason. My guess, I was talking to Arjuna and Jomi about this in the office the other day. I think Dune will move up. I don't think either will move back out of next calendar year, but I could see Dune moving up and remaining in like peak Oscar season, but maybe starting to build the Oscar hype a little earlier in October or November. Yeah. That would be my guess. What do you think? You think they're going to move Doomsday to like 2028?
I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. This is something that I would like to, back channel some information. We'll see. We'll see if I have any insight going forward. But let's do some reporting. Let's do some gumshoeing. Why not? All right. So that is our trailer wrap up, which was supposed to be much more robust, but here we are, victim to our 2D experience. Let's go now to my gift to my beloved Mallory Rubin, Interview with the Vampire Season 2. This episode is brought to you by Target. Heads up, Stranger Things has returned to Target, and it's time to prepare for one last trip into the Upside Down.
Head back to the 80s with rad exclusives like the Stranger Things Season 5 vinyl filled with epic tracks from the show and 2 awesome new Gatorades and vintage look bottles. The Stranger Things Upside Down cooler and the Citrus cooler.
New items are dropping all season long, so prepare for one last adventure at Target. Okay. I've explained the premise of this podcast to several people in my life for the last couple of weeks, and they are all like jaws on the floor, like, I don't understand. You keep giving Mallory really nice things, and she keeps making you watch shit you don't want to watch. And I'm like, yeah. For some reason, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But as I alluded to earlier, and as you brought up on the Prestige pod, rightly so earlier this week, me seeing Avatar is really something bare minimum I should be doing for my job. So
it's just a way to talk about a movie that might make, $1 billion.
$1 that people might want to hear about us on.
And I like to think that letting people hear you receive and respond to Angela and Ainsley last year, it was really our gift to the world.
Sure.
If you think of it that way.
Blowjobs and oil rigs or CGI whales and just honestly the most
you have my attention with all of the above.
Graphically constantly sexual prostrating of blue cat people that I've ever seen in my life in Avatar 3. We'll talk about that in a second. Before we get there, we got to get through some vampires. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Mallory Rubin.
Yes, ma'am.
It was perhaps overhyped by me, and something I was eager to share with you as you started your journey into season 2 is that the first episode is, I would say, bad, but the season as whole is very good. So hopefully I didn't overhype it for you. What were your overall impressions of Interview with the Vampire season 2?
I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Like a really, really, really excellent top tier season of TV, and the kind of season of TV that, as you have been doing, makes you want to like evangelize for a show and try to get it in front of as many people as possible, because it feels almost tragic that like more people aren't aware that there's something that is operating at this level of excellence in every respect. The structure of the story, the way that we're moving through time, the writing is just astonishing. It is so lyrical and beautiful. And we talked about that a lot in season 1. That was one of the things that I loved most about it, is just the poetry of the language.
Yeah.
Obviously, often in a literary adaptation, that quality is going to be there, but not always. And the writing and the way that the performers in such a gifted cast are shaping those words and bringing them to us. It's just like a lovely show to listen to, in addition to watching and thinking about. The performances are just unbelievable. Like, they're just unbelievable. And there's something really indelible about a number of the characters. I thought that this season, you had warned me, and I was grateful, because I was not very into the first episode, and for a couple different reasons, but from episode 2 on, I was just completely in. And I think that a lot of the episodes in this season were really good, but I think 2 of the 8 were like among the best. We have not yet done in our Best of the Century so far series a episodes, or shows list, but like if we did, I would consider 2 episodes from this season as, which we'll get to in a minute, as like eligible for inclusion. And I guess just the top level, like the other thing about this season, and this is certainly part of the core thrust of the story overall, and this idea of the interview and a recounting and a recollection and multiple narrators, all of that. This season in particular just did a really masterful job of exploring something that I really love and am endlessly fascinated in stories where multiple point of views are presented to us, which is like, can you trust your own mind? And maybe a character is actively grappling with that at some point, as is often the case throughout this season. Like, I'm trying to fill in the blanks. I don't know what happened. Maybe there is a realization, an awakening at some point that there are missing pieces that you didn't even know were missing. All of that is here, right? A competing version of events. How much of that is because that's the nature of either humanity or vampiric immortal existence? You got a lot of time in your life and it's hard to keep track of all of it. How much of that is because there's somebody who is maybe actively leading you toward a different version of events? This was such a really artful examination of the way that we construct the narratives about our own experiences. And it's just, I like, it will be the example I cite moving forward, I think, when talking about stories that do that well. So with apologies to Showtime's modern classic, The Affair. Knocked out of the top spot. But it will still be number 2.
And what I love about this feeds very much into what Anne Rice did, because she wrote Interview with the Vampire, and then she wrote The Vampire Lestat, which is, in theory, the framework for the third season. But this idea of getting Lestat's POV of what you already heard about what happened in Interview with the Vampire, Lestat's POV, that's what The Vampire Lestat is about. So you get a taste of that is brought into the season when you get like the trial sequence, and you get these things told from Lestat's point of view, this idea of the loneliness and what he was going through. And it doesn't change the monstrosity. It's not Lestat explaining away, because he still takes responsibility to the extent that he can for like his monstrous behavior, but it's just sort of like, and here's why. And it's really interesting to me because, like, in contrast to something like what they've promised to do with Night of the Seven Kingdoms next year, Dunk and Egg, where they're like, this is strictly from Dunk's POV, or like in his visor, in his, blah, blah. I don't think it was quite as obvious in season 1 of Interview with the Vampire that we were just in Louis' POV. We were very much in Louis' POV, but I think it was less obvious that we were getting like such a personally distorted view. And then in season 2, when you get not only the idea that like it was informed by human or vampiric emotion, but also this idea that Armand was actively editing Louis' mind. That just adds more fuel to that fire. I was probably always going to love this season of television because it is not only like vampires being dramatic, incredibly good performance, such rich language, as you mentioned, but it centers around a theater. And I just that is just like my bread and butter, like absolutely incredible. We get Jacob Anderson, Sam Reed, Erica Bogosian, returning as core trio. Asad Zaman like really steps up as a vampire Armand in the season, and I was like
blew me away.
Skeptical after the first season because I wasn't really that into him, and then I just thought he was so good this season. You have Delaney Hales taking over as Claudia, who I thought was really, really good. And then you've got a shared favorite of ours, Ben Daniels, showing up as Santiago, the sort of head thespian and rival for the leadership of this theater troupe, played by Stephen Ray in the movie. Lovely, like creepily so in the movie. Really good job. But this is just like, this is a perfect marriage of performer and role. And like as dramatic as Lestat is and all, is like no one is as hammy and dramatic and bitchy and vampiric and bleached and all these other things, constantly wearing a ton of makeup on his face, often like corseted and all his other things, than Ben Daniels as Santiago in this season. I want to go back to the Lestat thing in a second, but do you want to just take a second, talk about your experience really understanding how integral Ben Daniels was to this season? You thought Rings of Power season 2 had some Ben Daniels. Here he is.
I did love Ben Daniels in Rings of Power. Obviously, we love our blue leader. As you know, as we've talked about on the pod previously, his Snowden on The Crown is like one of my favorite parts of The Crown, and that's one of my to this point I would have said it was my favorite Ben Daniels performance. I think. Again, we have a new number 1. Like this is unbelievable. Francis, dear Francis, I love the camp And I love the drama and every single aspect of it. You can it's fun when you can tell how much fun the performers are having inhabiting the characters, you know. And I think that's true for a lot of the cast, and certainly, obviously, like we've talked about that with Sam Reed before. And you had told me, because I love Ben Daniels, that was one of the ways you sold me early on interview. It was like, Ben Daniels is waiting for you in season 2, and he's going to be in a theater.
Yeah.
But even then, I had no idea what was waiting for me. And the fact that the first exposure is this quite long
performance,
performance in the play. And obviously that's really helpful in terms of understanding how the theater and the troupe for the Coven is going to function inside of the season, and the way that they will be able to eat and feed and hunt and kill and be vampires in plain sight. Mm-hmm. And that will be the point, that the act is reality and nobody knows. Is brilliant as a bit of storytelling, but that it just was such a great way to present him to us and allow us to understand that he's going to deliver humorous lines. He's going to deliver, yet again, beautiful language. He's going to twirling around up there and wearing blue eyeshadow and slicked back hair. And he's going to want to be at the center of things, which is, of course, then fundamental to how he operates against our other characters.
I don't think I've ever seen so many capes or cloaks swished in my entire life as I saw him do in the season. Okay, a concern, and this is very prevalent in the first episode, which is sort of this other interlude before they get to Paris.
Yeah.
My concern about season 2 was all right, Lestat is out of commish for a section of this story. Sam Reed was, I love Jacob Anderson as Louis. I love Eric Bogosian as Daniel Malloy, just incredible stuff. But Sam Reed as Lestat was such a huge part of what makes season 1 so unforgettable. So we're recasting Claudia, and Lestat is going to not be around very much, but they found a workaround here when they had this Louis projection of Lestat, who occupies a couple of the episodes before Lestat himself makes his corporeal return.
Right.
How did you feel they dealt with that? And does it feel like a cheat, or was it just too fun and you were this is a great way to get Sam Reed here as much as possible?
Certainly didn't feel like a cheat. I mean, I loved it. And I think, yes to the latter. It felt like a great way to ensure that Sam Reed was present in the show, which I think is not only something that people want, but is ultimately an inextricable part of the fabric of the TV show's universe. Right. It just wouldn't quite feel right for him not to be here. So I was thrilled and delighted to find that he would be dappled across the season. But not only, I would say, does it not feel like a cheat in terms of how he was presented to us in those early episodes, it felt exactly right, because this manifestation of not just Louis' memories, but this tie that binds that they cannot cut, right? No matter what either of them does. The idea that Lestat would be this source of torment and this specter haunting every step that Louis takes and every conversation that he has, and every person he meets in the woods, every person he brings back to their new flat, anything at all, that Lestat would be there in the shadows of his mind. And then that would be literalized by showing him in the shadows of the room, mocking, taunting, judging.
Just taking the piss out of Armand constantly. One of my favorite moments was when Armand shows up outside of the balcony of the flat. Yeah. And Lestat spits Romeo, barely Balthazar. It's just
incredible.
It's so good. And just scoffing and mocking. And I agree with everything you said. And it also does a really good job laying the track work. Daniel asks at one point in the interview, are you schizophrenic? Is this something, but the madness that Louis descends into at the end of the season, into into the fire plan, and when he's talking to these corpses around him, it sort of lays the track for that of this is where his mind was headed all along this season,
Yeah. And the idea that the way that he describes his madness and his rage being linked. And then of course also both of those things are linked for Louis to his love and his lust, and that that's all entwined for him and inextricable from each other is great. So I think to see where Louis ended season 1 and the things that he did, if Lestat were not on his mind constantly, that would not have felt true to me, to the choices that he made and the experiences that he shared. So this feels right for the story and the character, but also a very handy way for us to get time with Sam Reed as Lestat, and who, I ask, is going to complain about that.
It was interesting to hear Sam Reed talk about this performance of what the Lestat that Louis imagines Lestat would be, and how that's different from how he actually plays Lestat. But it's not totally dissimilar from the Lestat of season 1, because that was always the Lestat from Louis' point of view. You know, the Lestat we met in season 1 was always from Leo's point of view. And I would think the realist version we have of Lestat is the one we see in New Orleans at the very end of this season, which is such a seismic shift. You know what I mean? It's just a really incredible scene. All right, so you teased this earlier. You were like, there are 2 episodes that really stood out to you this season. I have already mentioned like which one is the standout for me, but what is your favorite episode or episodes, and why?
Episode 5, Don't Be Afraid, Just Start the Tape, which on 2 different podcasts that we've done over the years, you have played, not just talking about, but played actual clips. This is like a fascinating, I feel like they could use this in, and other, probably Buffy examples and other things too, like almost in like a psychology class, something about like encoding failures. Like when you don't have the context to fully understand what something is, like sometimes you're like, wow, I got spoiled on thing. And sometimes you're like, I don't really know what that was about. So like it was still preserved in full for me.
I was really trying to pluck things that wouldn't like completely spoil what it was for you.
So the rest clip that you had played, which I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, was from the top moments of the year when season 2 aired. I just had no context for it at the time because I hadn't watched the show.
I think you thought that was him actually turning Daniel
in like present
now.
day. I did. Yeah. So when I tell you I had like nothing about that was spoiled for me. And the clip that you selected for Best Fights of the Century so far, a pod we just did in person, I miss you.
I know.
Last week, you could not have done a better job of picking it, because the clip that you picked was like, Lestat. And I'm like, well, yeah, this makes sense to me that they would be arguing about this without having all of the particulars of everything else that is present in that San Francisco memory. So after, not to spoil our own outline here, but we're going to go through some like favorite moments for favorite characters shortly. So I'll come back to the particulars for both of these episodes for some of the characters, but just broadly, again, what that does on the memory front and our ability to examine and understand what we carry with us, why, how much of that is from our trauma and what we've repressed, how much of that is because somebody else is actively depriving you of the truth of your own experience. The performances in that episode were among the best I've ever seen. Like, I just thought it was gobsmacking. And the language is so beautiful. That hypnotic quality that is present in the scene. Rest to lull Daniel into that, like, welcome, take the bath, the warm bath, the invitation, death's waiting arms. It has like that effect, that hypnotic quality on the viewer too, because just of the way it is crafted. I'll talk more about Armand in a few minutes, but that was the episode where I was like, something has radically shifted about how I felt about this character in a way that is like really notable. So that was just incredible. And I knew how you felt about it. I know from you how Van felt about it. So that's always meaningful to me too, when I'm like, I know this is really important to someone I love. I'm excited to find out why. And then it delivers. We had a funny moment. I'll take people behind the curtain for a second, where I told you, I texted you that I was finally starting, and then you didn't hear from me again. And you were like, oh no. Did she not like it? I was like, no, I liked it so much that I had to go right. I couldn't even stop the text. I went right to the next episode. And then I'm old and washed. So after that ended, I just fell asleep on the couch. I woke up in the middle of the night and I was up for 4 hours, unable to fall back asleep. Anyway, so that's one of them. It did not occur to me after watching that there would potentially be another episode inside of the season that can measure up. I thought the finale was one of the best finales I'd ever seen. So episode 8, and that's the end of it. There's nothing else. Everything about this was perfection. Just perfection.
The build up to the Armand reveal, the Daniel's... He directed it. Like, so good. Like, that reveal is so good. Their parting of the ways. And then, of course, the like Louis and Lestat reunion in
and
New
like
Orleans.
Louis' vengeance tour in Paris and how he dispensed with the coven.
Yeah.
Like, there was not a moment in that finale that didn't work. And the fact that I think if you actually went through beat by beat the scene breakdown of the episode, I think if you were just like describing it to me, I would say, oh, so that was like 4 episodes, right?
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it's just such a tight 55 minutes of sheer perfection. And yeah, by the end, it's funny because there were a number. So I watched it with Adam. I can't remember if we talked about this on the season 1 pod. Probably, but he is a really big fan of the books, actually. Right. He's read them all. He loves them. He has what I would describe as shocking recall of like details that have been quite a surprise to me as we're watching this, where he's just like, blah, blah. I, of course, have no idea what he's talking about. So it's been really fun but he hadn't watched the show until we watched it together. And it's been really fun to watch it together. He's really been blown away by it and has loved it. Okay. And like we finished last night and he's like immediately opened YouTube and like the trailer for season 3, you know, just like the second we finished the finale.
Did he get really excited by the Akasha mention in the finale?
He actually he paused the episode so that he could like process it and talk about it and run through things. And I was like, can we just please resume the episode? It's like, I've pod prep to do.
I'm on tenterhooks,
But I was like, you like text Joanna.
Yeah,
like,
he
I
should.
have nothing to offer you here.
Text me.
He probably will. But anyway, so then there were a number of times this season where an episode ended and one or both of us turned to the other and literally out loud said, that was really good.
Hell yeah.
Like that's just the experience. You get to the end of the episode and you're like, holy shit. So the finale ended and we both were just like, that was really good. Like, wow, it's hard to, I understand there's a source text and everything, but it's hard to bring every strand of the story to such a satisfying place at the end there. And I just thought it was excellent. Really, really great.
I think the 5 leading into 6, which leads into the trial, which leads into the finale, like that stretch from 5, 6, 7, 8 is one of the strongest like stretches I've seen in a TV show. And again, I was worried because the first episode is just like not that great. And the second one is like, a bit of a slow rewatching the season. I will say I'm like much more invested all the way in from the beginning. Yeah. But at first I had that fear of like a sophomore slump of a show that I loved. And I was like, is it just not going to hit the same? And then I would say, actually, I think it hits even harder for me. Like I think season 2 is even better for me at the end of the day. That episode 5, San Francisco memory cobbling together episode, Luke Brandon Field plays young Daniel, and I think he is so good. Really, there's great. You can see the connection between his performance and Eric Bogosian's performance, but it doesn't feel even remotely like an imitation or anything like that. It's just like, and we had seen flashes of this before, but like, and it's all season. He's flashing to it all season long, what Armand did to him. And so that then gives him this like personal stake in the reveal at the end of the season, because he's like, I was violated by Armand. Yeah. My mind was violated by Armand. And so he's not out of the kindness of his heart is he exposing Armand at the end of the season,
I like too, like the again, structurally, the fact that so much of the story is about like wide sweeping swaths of time. But inside of that episode, when they are, when Louis and Daniel in Dubai, they're on a clock. Like Armand's getting lunch, right? Yeah. And so it's like, we've got to figure this out with a quickness. Let's get our feet in the sand. Like that was great to simultaneously be.
Is it going to take him to hunt someone to the Burj Khalifa and back?
Yeah. And so like to be like spanning the decades of memory and also feeling like the second someone walks in the door, our chance to piece this together is over was really tense in a great way.
I think also similarly in the finale, like they've wrapped up the interview and he's doing this like.
Just some follow-up questions.
Here are my follow, and they're both sort of, kind of like, okay, all right, let's wrap it up. We're done here. It's over. And he's like, here's some evidence I have. Oh, it's so good. When on rewatch, it's so fun to note how many times the camera shows you Armand with his red grease pencil in the margin taking notes to like, lay the track for that so that you will have no doubt as to what you're seeing at the end. As you mentioned, you're going to sort of break down the specifics of these episodes a bit as I've decided to do my favorite thing, which is just like run through some characters and some character moments. So do you have a favorite character of season 2 or a favorite storyline that you want to identify?
So I'll give some of my top moments or quotes for all the folks in rapid fire fashion we're going to run through here. Just at the top level, I'll say, like, I don't really anticipate watching a season of Interview with the Vampire where Lestat, Louis, and Daniel aren't all at the top of the list for me, because it's just so good. Like, there's no reason to take them out of that level of adoration. Through the season 2 lens specifically, though, Armand is the MVP of the season to me. And I think Santiago would be maybe like in the mix as like a runner-up, more of like kind of a fun vibes pick. But Armand is like, this season doesn't work if that performance and the reveal, the peeling back of the layers of that onion doesn't land as effectively. And I was just riveted. And the journey of like empathy and sympathy and warmth, and the way that you feel I felt so tenderly toward him at so many points, for like this sense of always feeling like you're living in the shadow of the affection someone has for another person. And you also have add in the element of like the history you had with that vampire. And, this idea of living your entire life with someone else looming so large over it is I thought really just compelling. And then all that does is enhance the wallop of the betrayal and realizing exactly what he did, which was just so upsetting and disturbing. And I think, to your point, we were led there in a way where there's not a single part of you as a viewer, I don't think, that's like, wait, what? I don't believe this, or I don't understand how we got here. It's like, it's the harmony is perfect. So it's just great.
It's interesting. At the Austin Television Festival, I got the treat of talking to Asad Zaman and some of the people who work on the show about, I think it was episode 4. But I was asking him, I was like, Armand has existed for so long.
Yeah.
I understand the allure of Jacob Anderson, but what is it about Louis that has like Armand so enraptured? And he gave a great answer. Like this idea that like the maestro wants to be dominated and all this other stuff like that, like that's all interesting to me. But I think what you're saying about Lestat, who hurt me, who seduced me and left me, can I be bigger than him? Can I, this is about his own personal injury, and like, you can't follow Lestat as an act. But this is just like what Armand has been trying to do for 70 plus years. And, and how frustrating that be and the way that episode 5 exists every single time he says fascinating to Daniel, that
best
vitriol, that, insecurity that comes with him lashing out is just so good. Really good.
I don't think I had seen Azad Zaman in anything before this.
Me neither. Yeah.
He is a breathtaking performer.
Yeah. Really, really good.
Amazing.
Okay. So let's go through these characters and your favorite moment associated with them. For Lestat, or head stat. You can do one for Lestat, one for head stat, or what you prefer. So what are you picking here?
Okay. For Lestat proper, I will go with what I thought was perhaps the best line in television history.
Can I guess?
Please.
Is it Siri pause?
No, it's right in that same stretch though. Siri pause killing us. We were cracking up. It's right in that same stretch. From the finale, a wearisome fledgling. All the millennials are. It's like, absolutely killed me. Absolutely killed me. So that's my Lestat proper pick. For head stat, I will go with rapid fire. I think just of there's so many choices from all the times that he is there in Louis' mind, but also in the space that we are watching Louis and Armand inhabit together. And I think in particular, I enjoyed in episode 3, on the Louis front, the more dramatic and intense, when he's tormenting him across Paris and Louis in the woods, and Lestat says, this is a person that Louis is about to murder, bashing his skull in against a tree. But we see Lestat saying to him, go on, kill me again, show me the only way you know how to love. That was brutal. And then on the comedy front, in episode 4, after Armand and Louis have fucked, and they're like, Louis in his underwear on the bed, stretched out, and Louis says, is talking to Armand about like what are they like, the nature of their relationship, and Louis says like, well, what we got is great, and Armand says it's just not a companionship. And then the Lestat, in Louis' mind, inhales a puff of his cigarette. So the smoke is in his mouth as he's saying, oh God, how do you manage it? how do you deal with this guy? It's just so good. So good. What are your picks? Do you have anything to consider?
Well, I do think the whole New Orleans, did you hurt yourself?
Oh my God.
Really, really soft, tender side of Lestat
so
is
good.
Unforgettable. Really, really good. But I also want to call out the Lestat entrance, that he's coming and he walks across the catwalk and just shucks his coat off. He's wearing a 3-piece pinstripe suit that is just amazing. And he just dramatically drops the coat off his shoulders as he's walking. And it's just one of the campest things I've ever seen. But I was but I felt like I was ready to see Elvis. I was just screaming Beatlemania style at home when it was just Lestat's here. The real Lestat is here. We're so excited. And he's so good in the trial sequence too. Really, really good.
Yeah.
All right. Louis, Dupont, Dulac, Jacob, Anderson.
10,000 contenders to here. Just an incredible heavyweight performance yet again. But I think because of how blown away I was by the finale, just finale Louis, the decimation of the coven, how he reacts to the Armand reveal when Daniel blows up their lives in this lie, seeing him back in New Orleans, I'm seeing him
taking
wearing
the tour.
a Saints hat and taking the tour, and especially the literalizing of we've gone through their memories, and then he's walking back through haunting the steps of their old life. Finding Lestat, everything in that scene was incredible. But I thought the hammer of this season, when he goes into the trance state they're hearing the whispers of all the vampires who've read the book or heard gossip about what's in the book, and they want to find Louis and hunt Louis down. And he's like, here's exactly where I am.
Yeah.
Hear this now and hear it plain. I own the night. And there's just clothes on his face. That gave me chills. That was amazing. So that had to be the top moment for me for Louis. It's just incredible.
Similarly to the way in which they worked Sam Reed into this season, I was really gratified to see by the season 3 trailer, because there's a version of season 3 that could have no Louis, very little Louis. And they've clearly sort of arranged it so that they can preserve these are our 3 main characters, and you're also going to get the experience of Rockstar Lestat. Don't worry about it. Okay. Armand.
Oh man. So it's just everything in episode 5. I mean, the fight with Louis that we already talked about. My daughter was my sister, was my throw pillow. Fucking brutal.
Yeah. And the way both he and Santiago put on the accent to make fun of Louis. Very good.
Wild. And obviously all this, the everything in the clip that you played, the Lestat, the name unuttered in our home for 23 years. All of that was incredible. I thought the way that fight ends and then transitions into the choice that Louis makes and Daniel piecing together the second closing of the door. But what Armand says right before that is, you threw her name around just for cover, but it always circled back to him. I loved her, but she didn't love you. Not like he did, not like I have. There's something so true about that from a liar.
Yeah.
But it's so brutal, and it feels, as you noted in the fights episode, very emblematic of and reflective of this type of fight that we love, which is how do you wound a person very well, and the unique ways you can do that. And then I think, the Louis scene, but then both of the everything with Armand and Daniel in the San Francisco sequence, but the 2 primary exchanges, the chair torture scene, the one you mentioned, the fascinating conversation, all of those lines and that clipped tone, bartering with desire. Is that what makes you fascinating? Yeah. Just it's incredible. An instinct to self-efface. Is that what makes you fascinating? All of that was so good. I was just riveted and rapt watching it. And then the rest conversation, the enchantment was just haunting and gorgeous and disturbing and
But
enrapturing.
and it's like quotidian details. He's like talking about Bakersfield and like, you know, an armchair and like, you know, your wife counting down your thrusts and like, you know, all this sort of stuff like that. So like this way in which he studied what it means to be the most boring person in 1973 or whatever. And yeah, the repetition throughout the season, something I noticed this time of this John Keats from Ode to a Nightingale, easeful death, half in love with easeful death, or just the phrase easeful death comes up again and again this season. And so this idea of like Armand as the embodiment of easeful death, like rest. I am here to like make it all go away. And you know, and the way in which Daniel, you know, a man grappling with his own, I mean, no longer now a vampire, but like mortality. With his Parkinson's. Right. And having to grapple with the way in which his mind was like fucked with. And how much did that impact, you know, like when he's talking to Louis. About like, I fucked up my marriage, I fucked up this, but I could always hold this job because basically this thing you said to me, you know what I mean? Like how his entire life has been dictated by the way in which these two vampires fucked with his head over the course of a week in 1970 San Francisco is just incredible stuff. Really, really good.
Unbelievable. And I love that when Armand is saying all of those things to Daniel about his wife and the disappointment and the mundane nature of his like lame existence, unfulfilling existence, we do know, we've seen him in the present day and we've heard him say like, I've blown 2 marriages, like I've let down my daughter. So you carry that with you into like then what feels like a prophecy to your point. And it's just like, but then you're like, it'll feel like a bath rest like honey on your tongue. And you're just like, it's so gripping and great.
That being said, one of my favorite little details is that Daniel's like IM name is Pulitzer-Roo too. And
remarkable
just
stuff.
Really good stuff. That brings us to Daniel Malloy. What do you want to say about either Bogosian or the younger version of Daniel?
As you know, I love Bogosian and like, dude, seeing him with Wags at the end, I was like, Billions reunion, let's go.
I always think of that guy from Breaking Bad because I don't have the Billions source you have, but I love that guy.
He's the best. No shortage of, I mean, I think his just like acid-drenched humor is always really entertaining and great. I guess I liked in episode 5 in the present day, I really liked when Daniel said, turns out I saved a copy in the cloud. And Louis says, you're a liar, Daniel. And then Daniel says, so are you, Louis, whether you know it or not. Like, I love those moments when he's standing tall in their presence, when it would be so easy to shrink. And then, speaking of Wax, I was dying during the TV interview. And he's like, he's got the glasses on because we haven't seen his eyes yet. He's like, I've sold millions of these books, more than Johnny Grisham or Prince Harry and the Prisoner of Santa Barbara.
Prince Harry and the Prisoner of Santa Barbara is so funny because there's like so much language that's taken from the books, but then you have these moments like the fledgling millennials line or Prince Harry and the Prisoner of Santa Barbara where you're like,
contemporary humor for us.
Yeah, this is for us. So good.
It's great.
Especially, did I tell you about why the paper stock in our MCU book was like a little on the thin side? If you bought the MCU book, the hardcover, the paper stock was like a little thin, and that's because Prince Harry used all of the good paper. There was like supply chain issues around that time because of like COVID hangovers, and Harry had used all the really good paper for his book, so we got slightly shafted on that. Thanks, Harry.
Thanks, Harry.
For me, the Daniel, I mean, there's so many options, but and I don't have them on the list. But as you texted me, Justin Kirk shows up as Raglan from the Talamasca. Really fun stuff. Yeah. But Daniel's, it's a telenovela speech. Let's have a Univision night. Like, is just
excellent,
extremely good stuff. Really
excellent.
Good. All right. Smeared in light blue eyeshadow, it's Santiago. What do you like? What do you want to say?
Better blue eyeshadow than the ashes and his own spit that he's using to pleasure himself in his coffin at night. The intro in the theater that we already talked about, welcome to the displacement of reason and the excretion of pathetic pathetic desires. By that, I mean good evening. Wonderful stuff. Such a burdened beauty. Delectable. And how could we not nominate in episode 8 when Louis is calling him to him and mocking the size of his manhood, and Santiago replies, "She only thought it was small because my testicles are so enormous."
As he's like flying through the sewers of Perry.
Oh my God.
Extremely good. Really, really good. I don't think I have much better, except I love the sequence where he's on stage acting.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
And essentially waiting for Godot, like essentially
yeah.
an early version of Waiting for Godot.
Oh, man.
But is also conducting the coven at the same time. So that idea that he can like do this in his sleep. He can do this theater in his sleep while he's also conducting his other affairs.
Yes. I liked that a lot too, just to show us his capacity.
Yeah.
You know, it's necessary. Also, the projection screen in that was just great.
Yeah.
Like,
all the art. Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of star of stage,
yes,
Claudia, Lulu herself.
I thought, man, there's a lot of really intense Claudia stuff. For moments, Claudia annihilating Madeline's attackers, very memorable. I thought what Claudia said to Louis in episode 6 when she was trying to compel him to turn Madeline, it was really memorable, though. You were Lestat's, now you're Armand's, or Armand is mine.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a third all my life. Not saying that to fight, just saying that it's true.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I get to pick one thing for myself, and it's her. A weird white lady I met by happenstance. So you have like the charm and the humor at the end, but I just thought that so effectively captured the totality of Claudia's existence and
always
the contradictions
you and him,
inside of
him
it.
and you. Yeah.
You have provided me with this the gift. You have granted me the gift and this different type of life and experience and a new family, and you saved me. But in doing that, you doomed and damned me in all of these ways. And so I want a thing that is mine and makes me happy that I get to decide for myself. It was great.
I love the thing that I would pick is sort of tangled up in Louis and Madeline as well. But it's when Louis, in making Madeline, sees how Madeline sees Claudia, where he says he sees her in a light that she could never have been in. Like she would never actually be able to physically survive this. It's like she has this beautiful vision of Claudia in like golden afternoon sunlight. And it's just like all of that triangulated together.
That's great.
Leading into like, we're just going to end it here with Madeline, unless there's anyone else you want to bring in. And I will just say Madeline, a character they dramatically changed from the book, who's like more of like a nursemaid to Claudia. And this is like a love interest for Claudia. But I will just say the conversation she has with Armand, where she's eating that apple in a completely psychotic way. And he's like, well, you eat people like you eat your apple or whatever. But I just love how much she's holding her own with Armand in that conversation.
It is great.
And he's like trying to scare her and unsettle her. And she's just like very sure of what she wants. And then her complete shell-shocked reaction to the trial, like having survived what happened to her after she made the decision to sleep with a Nazi during the French occupation, but the way in which she was dragged into the street and her head was shaved and she was shamed and all this sort of stuff like that, to have survived all of this persecution, being made immortal and then back in front of, on trial again is, I love her just like completely traumatized reaction to all of that.
The Achilles tendon snips during the trial, I can barely handle that. That's
tough.
Gnarly.
Yeah.
Very Cersei Lannister-esque, walk of atonement with the shaving of the head. My pick will be when in that stretch where she is explaining her history and the decision that she made. When she gets to the point where she's like, I just wanted him to cradle my tits.
Yeah. And she was like, I didn't want Hitler to stay here, but I was like having sex with a scared 19-year-old boy. Yeah. And I'm
just
not defending
him to cradle my tits.
Neither of us on this podcast are not defending sleeping with a Nazi.
Absolutely
but
not.
I
don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't. But I think
Terrible.
this season makes an interesting case for us to listen to Madeline when she talks about sort of why she did that and stuff like that. Okay. I'm repeating this question from the last time we did this last year, which is, what, if anything, has this show taught you about marriage? This is sort of like Armand Louis edition to say, are you now A, excited to be referred to as maître?
Yeah, sure. Of course.
Or B, ready to liken marriage to being smothered by the world's beigest pillow? Or both.
That was an incredible line as well. Brutal. Real scenes from a marriage stuff throughout this show in a number of different respects. And I'm always here for it. It's difficult to spend an eternity with someone. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, 70-something years. Well, I love the way in which they're, you get the Armand and real Rashid reveal of season 1, but here in season 2, when he's just like smugly sat by his side and they're just like sitting there being like so secure in their performance.
Yes.
Of we're a happy couple.
Yes. Yeah.
And then Daniel being just a genuinely incredible investigative journalist that he is. And this is, we talked about this last time, sort of Daniel and his relationship with journalism, but like being a journalist is like such a heroic part of this season, and his like inability to take the easy answer and his questioning and his just like, listen to that door closing. Now listen to that door closing. Like, I love all of that. Getting primary sources from the Talamasca, et cetera. All right, looking ahead, how excited, I mean, I just heard that you and Adam already watched the trailer, but how excited are you about season 3? Is there anything in the trailer that got you, like, I know you sat with me in Ballroom 20 at Comic-Con.
Intending to film your reaction and then accidentally filming my own lap for the subsequent hour.
And so you had already seen this without the context of season 2, but how does the context of season 2 inform your excitement?
So I remember at Comic-Con seeing this, and you were like, I mean, first of all, you were levitating, but you were exhibiting the cloud gift. You were levitating, right? But you were like blown away by how much footage they had already, because they had just, I want to say, if I remember, and this might be wrong, they had been filming for like 15 days or something, right? They had like just started production.
Yeah. Yes.
So I was really like, Lestat as a rock star, I'm in. I don't really have a lot of follow-up questions, right? I know I will come to understand how we get to that point. Okay. Rewatching the trailer, basically everything about it felt different to me, but only in an even more exciting way. Yeah. It got a laugh out of me at the time, but just more because I so enjoy watching Louis and Lestat interact. But this time, when they're in the mediator's
arbitration,
room, and like, and we sat there and like drew numbers on each other's backs and like pretended that we didn't know what they were and guessed wrong. And then Lestat's like, I bet you did. A very specific detail to pull out of thin air. And now I'm like, I understand so much more deeply the jealousy in all directions in this love triangle. So I really am excited for the season. And I already also like have that feeling that I love when I'm like, I'm excited to revisit and rewatch already too, because I think there will be a new appreciation and like, when you can track the clues and the breadcrumbs, knowing where you're heading, that's always really fun. So maybe after season 3, how much more is there going to be after that?
I don't know. There's an opportunity because like Akasha, who gets a mention in season 2, who they've cast for season 3, like they're doing the Vampire Lestat, but there's also the Queen of the Damned, which is like Akasha's story. I don't know how much of that is in season 3, but that is connected to Lestat too. So there's an opportunity, I would say, for several more seasons because, Lestat is Anne Rice's favorite creation. So she wrote plenty about him.
I mean, I can't blame her. I get why.
What has the experience of watching Interview with the Vampire season 2 and season 1, just like your journey through Interview with the Vampire, maybe also informed by the season 2+ seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer that you've watched? Like, what does this taught you about me, Joanna Robinson, in this gift exchange?
I think that it's more affirmed, further cemented something that I already knew, which is that you are a person of taste and quality. a scholar. And, I think that the melding of different like tones and impulses inside of this universe, I think is something that I know that you really appreciate. And like if someone said to me, do you think that Joanna would like a story about hot vampires who basically like off the dome consistently just forge poetry in real time as they speak and then also perform theater and then are going to sing and dance and also remember they play the piano? Nothing about that would surprise me at all. Yeah. But I do love the particulars of the universe deepening my sense of what you love about those things and the different forms that they take, right? And like obviously Buffy is, we'll keep talking about that, as you've said, the most formative to your very existence. So that's a whole other thing.
Like having, because you're not a horror person, not that you don't have exceptions, but like this is, I think, some of the more prolonged exposure to vampire, storytelling that you've gotten. Like, given your time with Buffy and now Interview, like if you hear about, are you like more inclined to get excited about a vampire centric story, or like is the world of vampirism like a bit more interesting to you, or are you just sort of like, this is very creator specific, like what Whedon did with Buffy, what Anne Rice and Roland are doing with Interview is very specific.
I've always, I think, on the horror scope, not a horoscope, but the horror scope, the scope of horror.
Yeah.
I have my tolerance for the scary aspects, the violence inside of a fantastical monster story, like a vampire story or a zombie story or something like that. I think I've always been able to process and stomach that a little bit more fully than like
torture porn.
Child's play, which I saw when I was a kid and basically traumatized me for the subsequent how old am I? 32 years or 30 years. Was it second grade that I saw that in, or fourth? Too young for my friend's older brother to show us that. I know that. But I think like some of the really more overtly, like this is a horror movie, vampire movies, I think would still scare me. But like, do I think I could see Nosferatu and be fine? I do. I've also really just good. I'm sure. I think I could handle that, and I think I would really enjoy it and be glad that I saw it. So I also just think, we've talked about this on a couple other pods, but like, I do think I'm able to. No, I know. Watch this stuff a little bit more over the last couple of years than I was, even as recently as like half a decade ago. So I don't know what has changed about that, but like I used to be so reluctant to even attempt horror.
The horrors of the real world are so
grave and severe. Maybe. Maybe.
All right, I'm about to hand the hosting role over to you because we're about to talk about Avatar: Fire and Ash. But I just want to share with our dear listeners that when I put together these notes last night, papyrus is not an option inside of Google Docs, which is where we house our outline. But I simply could not bring myself to write Avatar: Fire and Ash without the papyrus representation. So I did screen grab it from the letter that James Cameron sent to projectionists at movie theaters about how to show Avatar: Fire and Ash so that it could be represented here in all of its papyrus glory. So that's just a gift from me to you, Mallory.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's interesting that's why. My assumption was that this was your version of like not saying Voldemort's name. Like if you could just kind of screenshot it and paste it rather than having to type it, you wouldn't have to like risk fully summoning it into your life. That was what I had assumed.
It's already in me. All right.
It is time for my gift to you, which I do not believe is a gift to you at all. Here's the gift. The gift is that an Avatar movie, whatever everybody might think about Avatar, and we've got plenty to talk about on that front, is to this point has been an event, right? An event. We did not get to cover The Way of Water together because you did not see that movie in real time. And so it felt to me like any way that we can get even just a few minutes to talk about Pandora, to talk about my beloved Payakan, the Tolkun, my favorite space whale. Actually, I really love the Purrgil. I'll have to think about who is actually my favorite space whale. It's a crowded field. Couldn't miss the opportunity. And so it's a gift really to myself, which is...
The Purrgils can travel you like across space-time.
Hyperspace lanes. Yeah. But Payakan, as I've sent you many screenshots, pictures of my TV of before you watched Way of Water, Payakan sometimes goes, it's too painful. So...
And then you get a close-up of his eyes.
That's also really great and meaningful.
Yeah.
So it's really a gift to the bad babies, and it's a gift to myself to get to share this with you. And, is that selfish? Is it brazenly, nakedly selfish? It is. But here's the thing. You know this about me. I consider gift giving a competitive sport. And so I'm always looking to come out of a gift giving exchange feeling like I won in some way, and getting to talk about Avatar with you will feel like a win. I have plenty of notes on this movie and on this franchise, to be clear. I just like the fact that we're going to get to talk about it together for just a minute here. So that's why I have selected this. And also, I just frankly didn't think that I could get you to watch Landman Season 2. Otherwise, I might have just run it back. I think
I would have traded anything for you to watch Interview with the Vampire Season 2, which I know you would have watched anyway, but it's just like, you're so busy that the idea of is this for work is a way to bump something up your watch list. So.
It's true that it is so depressing to hear that and have to confront it, even though it is undeniable. Okay, Joe, let's set the stage here. And by the stage, I mean the demon ship. The stage for the theater of war that we will repeat across multiple films.
The rocky shore upon which I have washed up gasping. With no sense of my former life.
Take a drink.
Here's me flying through the air with the ghost of my dead brother as I think about my former resistance to this franchise in tatters and crumbles in front of me.
My beloved Loak, my darling Loak. I love him. I do. He's one of my favorites.
Who any of these people are.
I will be your guide through this experience. Okay.
Thank you.
The water is warm. Is this my equivalent of Armand telling Daniel, just rest? It'll feel like a bath.
Easeful death. The easeful death of the Avatar franchise.
The water's warm, and as far as I know, Spider has not yet pissed in it. He's still taking a drink first and complaining about the itchy suit that he stole. Okay, Joanna, set the table for us here. What is your relationship, in case anybody has not been able to glean it? What is your relationship to... Well, we'll get to this movie in a second, but this franchise, the Avatar franchise, 2009's Avatar, 2022's Avatar: The Way of Water, James Cameron spending literal decades of his career making the Avatar films, all of it.
Honestly, I think it's like one of the biggest tragedies of the film industry.
Oh my God.
That Jim Cameron, who made Terminator, T2, Aliens, Titanic, The fucking Abyss, has been locked up by his own devices in Pandora for 20 years. Okay, anyway, Avatar 2009 I saw in theaters and I fucking hated it. I had a really bad time with it. As you know, I'm like fairly allergic to mass amounts of CGI. And while I appreciate that there is different technology at work here, and I appreciate that Jim Cameron is someone who's been captivated by the ideas of pushing the boundaries on certain technologies, this is not beautiful to me the way that it is beautiful for a lot of people. A friend of mine who's an artist, she loves the Avatar franchise. And like, I tried to get her to see Fire and Ash with me this week, and she's like, no. And I was like, oh yeah, you like it. So you want to go and like enjoy yourself and not hear me piss and moan about it. That's fair. I was like, that I understand that. But she loves it. She thinks it's beautiful. Juliet referred to it as going to the planetarium. Just let the beauty of it wash over you. I don't think this is beautiful. I think this is ugly. And so that if that's why people go, that is not here for me. So I hated 2009's Avatar. I went with a bunch of pals, and then I just stood in the lobby and was like a real like bitch about it, honestly. And then spent like the next decade talking about how bad I thought Avatar was. And then they made Avatar: The Way of Water. And I shirked my duty as a nerd versus pop culture podcaster and did not go see it at all. And then we made this deal.
Yep.
So a couple weeks ago, week and a half ago, I had a friend coming over to watch Master and Commander, an actually tremendous movie about water. And I was like, well, I guess I'll do my water homework.
Yeah.
And so beforehand, sort of like while I was cooking dinner and doing a couple other things, I put on Avatar: Way of Water so that I could understand the basic plot lines of what happened in that movie so that I could not be completely lost when I got to Fire and Ash. I was like aware of The Way of Water. Like I was aware that Sigourney Weaver was playing like a teenage version, Immaculate Conception, you know, whatever. I knew that there was a white Mowgli kid named Spider. I knew that Kate Winslet had somehow gotten herself wrapped up in all of this mishigas. I did not enjoy Way of Water. But I didn't finally know what you were talking about when you were talking about the whales. But I still didn't fully grok it, so that genuinely when Sean and Amanda on the big pick were talking about the brain juice, the whale brain juice, I genuinely did not remember that was, I don't know, the main plot point of Avatar: Way of Water. And I had just watched it like a few days before. Yeah.
Unobtainium moved over. You know, Unobtainium's our big first movie MacGuffin. Then we moved to Brain Juice, Amber Gold, Amrita,
and now it's yearning tendrils.
Now it's Air Breather.
Yearning tendrils of the mycelium.
But the Amrita is still here. But yes, exactly. The Air Breather. Spider.
Okay. So that's my relationship to the Avatar franchise.
Do you have a favorite MacGuffin of those three? Like the Sky People are going to claim and take Pandora for MacGuffin X, Unobtainium.
I think you can't
whale brain juice or air breathing.
Absolutely dumb fuckery of Unobtainium as a title for a MacGuffin. So I'll give it to Unobtainium. Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you don't love these movies.
I think it's fine for people to like them. I think that's fine. Like, it's fine. Like what you like. I'm not here to tell you not to like it. You can love Avatar and that's great for you.
Yeah.
I don't like it. And I wish Jim Cameron would make other movies. It's not my job to tell George R. R. Martin to write a book or Jim Cameron to make a movie. Like, they can live their lives how they want to, and they are. But, if I were maître of the universe, this is not what I would have Jim Cameron doing. So, yeah.
So when Big Jim started
Jimbo.
putting out into the world recently, movies 4 and 5 are coming. We're, I think, supposed to get them in 2029, 2031, but maybe not directed by yours truly, where you fuck yeah, let's go. I'm invested at last. In the outcome of the liberation of Jim Cameron. Will that be the one thing that keeps you engaged with the Avatar universe? Finding out if Big Jim will direct the fourth film? No, when we hit end, we hit stop on our file, we send it to Carlos. It's the last time you're thinking about Avatar. Never
God
again.
Willing. Until you make me do my job again in 2029.
Oh my God. Incredible. You're the best. You're the best. My relationship to the Avatar franchise. Yeah,
I'm so sorry. Mallory, what's your relationship to the Avatar franchise? Is this how podcasting?
My relationship to the Avatar franchise is, I would say it's a living document. Here's how it's evolved over time. I saw the first movie and I was like, that was sick. That was sick. Then I never thought about it again. It's never been, And I think it's never been I have enjoyed watching the movies, but it's not a world where I'm and as you know, and as our listeners know, this is typically how we relate to stories is I want to learn everything. I want to know everything.
The lore of Pandora.
I want to sink in as fully as I can to the mythology. That's not been my relationship to Avatar, perhaps with the exception of trying to learn more about the Tulkun so that I can understand my beloved Bayakon better. When Way of Water was coming out, I rewatched the first Avatar, as many people did, and I was like, On the one hand, this doesn't look nearly as good as I remember, which makes sense. The passage of time, it's something you're watching at home, even on a nice TV, even with a nice setup, et cetera. It's different than in the theater, just the advancements of technology over the years. But I was also still like, I'm having fun, I'm having fun. Way of Water, I started to move into the like dissonance phase of my experience inside of same thing with like, I watch the movie, I'm having a great time, I leave, I don't think about it. Other than nominating Payakon in our Verses that year for, I believe, Best Magical Creature of that eligible period. And I believe that other than Charles, everyone was like, I haven't seen this film, so I can't comment. But
no, Van definitely saw Way of Water.
He saw it, I think, a little later, though.
Oh, okay.
But perhaps that's apocryphal, and I've slandered him. And by the time of the Verses, he was ready to chime in on Payakon.
I believe I trust your memory over mine.
I don't. Certainly not anymore. My experience with Way of Water was this. Because it was the second installment in the franchise, and we had then a prior film to compare it to, I still thought it felt like a moment, right? It's like, and obviously the box office bore that out. The first Avatar famously has made $2.74 billion with a B. Dollars. Way of Water has made $2.34 billion globally. These are two of the biggest movies ever made. And because there was such a massive gap in between them, when Way of Water came out, it was like,
will anyone even care?
Who knows? What's this going to be? And then people flocked to the theaters in droves, and the movie was gigantic.
And then didn't talk about it for 2 years.
Well, but this feels so much sooner that even that, like, oh, I can't wait to see, like, how has the tech advanced? Will it be even more breathtaking than it was, than I remember it feeling the first time around? Like, on the one hand, a few years between movies is sort of like, in some ways, like, it's just like normal, right? But it's like there wasn't the period of anticipation that there was between Avatar and Way of Water. So I'm wondering what impact that will have on just like box office yield and people's enthusiasm to be there on day one. Though it's still an Avatar movie, it's still a holiday movie where people have an opportunity to go. It is 3 hours and 17 minutes, but Way of Water was also north of 3 hours. I thought the Way of Water on the dissonance front was in certain stretches breathtaking. I think that middle hour, which is the part most people rag on, they're like, I don't need to see like Loak, the younger brother, swim around with a whale. I'm like, this is great. Pass the bong.
This is like dragon riding for you.
Swim around. Yeah, very much so. And I really love that part of it. There are other parts of Way of Water that I quite enjoyed. I thought our first run around with, a lot of these story beats are repeating, was a little bit perplexing. Now, that is, of course, only truer. This is going to be an exponential thing, clearly, as we reach the third film. So that's broadly my experience. I've had fun watching the prior two movies. I'm not like every minute in between I need to talk about and think about and learn about Avatar, and I can't wait for the next one. But then I see one and I'm like, that was pretty dope. And that is what I brought into seeing this.
You seemed a little down. I don't know if it was just a performance for my benefit. You seemed a little down on Fire and Ash when you got out of it. Just like...
that was just about the first two. That was just about the first two. So Fire and Ash, which, we're recording this on a Friday morning. So we don't know really anything about how it will do box office. So as the tracking, so $12 million on Thursday previews, tracking 100 domestic, 340, 350, 360 projection for the international yield. So seems like this will be a popular movie again. Will it be as successful as the prior two? Will it hit the threshold that Big Jim needs it to hit in order to keep directing? We'll see. Rotten Tomatoes, 68% from critics, 91 from the popcorn meter so far, and Metacritic is sitting at 61 and 6.9. I would say that 68-ish Rotten Tomatoes mark and 61 Metacritic mark feels really right to me. We went to the screening a few weeks ago.
Right. You went to a press
in 3D.
Screening. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was funny because, when you're there with like both the Ringerverse crew and the Big Pick crew, you really get the full gamut of responses to something.
Yeah.
And that felt as appropriate as ever here. Some people left and were like, that was really great. I had a great time. And some people were like, what the fuck was that? And I think Sean and I had similar reactions, which is like falling very much in between, where I think there's even in Fire and Ash, which is my least favorite of the three, comfortably. And I think is the least successful and frankly just least good of the three, comfortably. There's like 30 to 40% of the movie where it is reaching such a high, either the kind of visual aspect of how does the water look, or the some sort of aspect of like the wind trader set piece.
The airship ships.
Yeah, you're like, wow, cool. What a cool thing to sit in a movie theater and see this. There were a couple emotional beats that I was impacted by, watching Loak after Jake, his father, says to him, like, I do blame you, actually, for your brother's death. And if you hadn't done this, like, he would still be alive. And then Loak goes out and takes the rifle and contemplates killing himself. I was, like, moved by that, watching that.
I had a moment of, like, well, Avatar, I don't know. This is a stupid thing that I get tied up in. Who cares? But I'm always like, who is this for? And I'm like, it was like when we were watching Stranger Things, Volume 1, and they, like, Vecna shoves his like Rudy tendrils through a guy's face. And I was just hope the kids enjoyed that. I was just like, I know that there's always been cat people fucking each other in this universe. So I don't know this is ever like supposed to be for kids, but certainly kids go to Avatar. I was like, are kids going to enjoy the like suicide contemplation beat of this episode? Maybe it's something that they need to see. I don't know.
I think completely fair. I think that in terms of like this idea of obviously the story is just going to take place across decades of the Sully family's existence on Pandora. And certainly, and obviously this is actually just a massive issue in terms of the plot and the pacing of these movies. It seems like Cameron is very interested in just saying, well, there's going to be like a plot. It's going to end up being the same one as in the prior movies, but there's going to be a plot. But mostly this is like, what's the rhythm of life here? And so that aspect of like, how is this family functioning and what level of like resentment and distance
who's racist this time?
Exactly. So there are highs and there are things about it I liked. Then I think there are really actively confounding stretches of it, many of which fall into the bucket of just like, why are we making the same movie over and over again? And so there are parts that pull you out of that because they're interesting to watch. But like, I do think that the new element of the Ash tribe, this idea of descent among the Na'vi, like that not every resident of Pandora would want exactly the same thing or have the same history or relationship to Awa or relationship to the planet, and certainly not the same relationship to the potential like alliances with someone like Quaritch. I thought that actually felt fresh and interesting, and I wish that had been more of the movie than it ended up being. But we get then a lot of repeating beats, like an Earth temptation MacGuffin, Jake uniting the tribes again as Turok Makto and literally having to say like, and so again, and we get a few things like that is pretty rough. A sky person, in this case, Spider, wanting to become a member fully of the Na'vi, all of the Awa stuff, the nearly identical final battles. Like, I was very surprised by how, given the introduction of this idea of fire and ash, like that it was the way of water battle again, just with more
whales this
Tolkien
time.
and more demon ships. So that's just really perplexing, especially when the movies are so long. Like if so much of them is going to be similar.
It's almost like they never had a good story to tell ever.
None of the like archetypal aspects of the story appeal to you at all because the specifics are just so not to your liking.
I think it's possible that I just don't like a family saga, like a saga of a family told over decades of.
Interesting.
Do you know what I mean? My resistance to the Taylor Sheridan verse, it feels of a piece.
You're like, I don't want to know how the Duttons got this ranch, damn it.
I don't. I don't give a shit.
I don't want to know how the Duttons made it to Montana.
No.
I don't want to know how the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch came to be. And I don't want to know where Took is going to end up by the fifth
film.
film.
Even when the performances are good, like I think Zoe Saldana is very good in these movies.
Fantastic, yeah.
Oscar-winning star of Amelia Perez here. I'm just resentful that a good actor, like David Thewlis shows up in this movie.
Love him, as you know.
Recognizably Thewlising his way through this CGI. And I was like, how the fuck did they get Thewlis? Like Thewlis, who is like... And I know the answer's money, but like Thewlis, who's like an actual like thespian. I mean, I know he was in the Harry Potter movies, but like he does shit like the shit that he did in Fargo. No, but in Fargo, he's doing like a really weird, cool performance. As Lupin, he does like a weird Lupin in a great way, you know?
But
and then like his early career was like super punk rock. Like I was just like, clueless. What are we doing here? Anyway.
Maybe he was trying to bring some of that punk rock to Pandora.
And then you have someone like Sam Worthington, who is like, I think one of the worst actors we've ever been graced with. Just the most potato person ever. And this idea that he's like this compelling, charismatic leader of uniter of tribes. This guy, Jake.
Yeah.
His name is Jake.
My Jake. Jake Sully. My Jake. Where are you on Quaritch? Where are you on Quaritch these days?
I think it's really irresponsibly lazy to kill and resurrect a character over and over again. Like, what are we even doing here? That being said, Stephen Lang, I think, is really like fun in this role. But
he's great. I thought in Way of Water, when we realized that he would be returning to the story in the form of an avatar, I was like, wow, okay, we're really running it back. It's just going to be Jake versus Quaritch again. And of course, that is also true in this film with a slight twist of a couple team ups inside of it.
He has a whole section where he was like, you brought me here. This is my one mission. This is what, like it's very like Jake is his like white whale sort of thing. But I was like, with my complete disinterest in like rewatching Avatar, which I have not done. Like I was just like, I'm not feeling that's my fault. I'm not feeling the connection to this character and his motivations.
What about the connection between Quaritch and our new villain? Una Chaplin is here. I mean, a thrill for us, obviously, as Thrones fans.
Great character design.
And she's great.
Great.
Yeah.
I like it's very like Iroquois warrior sort of tattoo design. I thought it was really, really cool. I think it's cool to have an antagonistic Na'vi tribe. I mean, like the Water Tribe was already like somewhat antagonistic to our folks last movie. But to have like active war between the Na'vi, I thought was really good. I was confused. Now, listen, you have not asked me about this yet, but I will just say, I already put on Instagram, like I got incredibly high while watching this movie.
Yeah, that was my next question. Who was more loaded during this film, Quaritch or you? You know, he got the nose candy. He got the horn puff of like the scarecrow fear toxin / LSD. Right? He got that from our beloved Vara.
You never go nostril to nostril. Like that's just not something that I would personally do. But listen, I've told you already. So a pal of mine brought me some like weed gummies on Sunday when we did Lord of the Rings thing. And I was just like, oh, I will take these weed gummies.
Sure, of course.
To go see Avatar and I'll have a better time.
Yeah.
I went just like full, I don't want to be here was sort of my attitude yesterday. I told you already, I went in joggers and slides. I never leave the house in joggers and slides.
Yeah.
Like this is just a real like, like the floating chair people in WALL-E sort of experience for me where I was just like, I went like in scrub mode. I went to the back row of the theater. My chair reclined. I had popcorn and
you have to
M&Ms
have a recliner. Yeah.
and Diet Coke and weed gummies. And I was just like,
This sounds like it's a perfect evening to me, honestly.
It was deeply off my usual vibe when I go to the movie theater, but I was just like, so did I responsibly watch this movie with the entirety of my focus for all of the hours that I was there? I would say no. And I would say that there are some plot points that you've put in our outline today that I have no memory of having happen. And I will say, if you're curious when
oh my God.
I went to the moon.
Yeah. Yes. Tell me.
I would say in this sequence, when Quaritch gets incredibly high and
when he's tripping
and he sees her in like a psychedelic glow, I had to start closing my eyes because I was too overstimulated.
I see. Yeah.
So, and I had trouble, I would say, really focusing for the rest of the movie. Yeah. And I think that's like 2/3 of the way through the movie, would you say?
No. I think it is. No.
Halfway?
I think
a lot happens. No, they're at the Water Tribe for a while, then they get on the airships and they get attacked by the fire people and like the kids are lost and like she's been shot
and Jake trapped them
and like
track them.
there's like ton of shit that happens. There's several sequences where the kids are either running through the jungle or in the water, and all they're saying is like, come on, keep up, don't fall behind. Like, that's all that's happening.
You're right that a ton of stuff happens before Quaritch makes his way to that clan and goes into the tent and gets high. But even more happens after.
I really think that's halfway through the movie.
I'm going to say that that's like, if I had to guess, I would say that's an hour and 15 into 3 hours 17.
I don't think so, but
we'll find out when we rewatch it on streaming or 4K Ultra one day. Were you tapped in? Were you locked in when they were later on like draped, naked, and entwined, curled up with each other in the throes of their lovemaking?
My eyes were open for that part. I did see that.
I bet.
I'll say this. Before I lost the plot of this movie, I was stunned. I remember all the like, this is for furries jokes about Avatar. And I remember that they like, you know, communal head tail fuck in the first movie or whatever. But I was ill prepared. There's something about how long their torsos are. I was ill prepared for how often they are like swaying and grinding and humping and just sort of undulating around in a way that I'm just like, Jim, you sick little fuck. Like, this is just, this is a deeply porny franchise in a way that like I kind of knew, but I really
Joanna?
Understand this time. Yeah.
We'll be coming back to that. I'm pleased to tell you.
Great.
Stay tuned for
I will
more.
say, I mean, I know you want to talk about Curie and death, but I will just say that there's like a moment where Curie, in one of her many like I'm communing with the earth moments, is like grasping this like glowing magenta beam thing with both hands.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's no non-sexual explanation for what I was saying there. And she's like
gotta wait till the fourth movie until that's actually Spider's cock. You know?
She's supposed to be like 14. How old is she supposed to be?
Yes,
we can get to that later.
She is supposed to be a tween.
How old is Spider supposed to be?
Played by a 76-year-old woman.
How old is Spider supposed to be?
I Googled this morning. Jack Champion, the actor, is 21 right now. So I guess when they were making this, he would have been like 19, 20. In the first movie, because that was a couple years ago, so he would have been like 15, 16, I guess, in the first movie, if the ages
they like
are
shot them back to back, right?
But like, and then because he's a baby. The canon, right, is that he's Quaritch's kid, and in Way of Water, there's that line like, you know, you can't put babies in cryo, dipshit. If memory serves. So he's a baby in the events of the first movie.
The oldest kid that Jake and Sully have.
Correct.
So an old teen, at least.
Yes.
And she's 14. Yeah. And they're like...
But she's played by a 76-year-old. Well, that's the part I'm more hung up on.
The way they're just like coiled around each other this whole movie, and they were raised as brother and sister. Like, all of it is just flowers in the attic to me in a way that I am not having a great time with. He's
supposed to be about 16, it seems, in Way of Water.
The problem with
this picks up right after that.
The problem with her being 14 is that Sigourney Weaver's playing her oftentimes as like 12. And so it's like...
And 1,000.
Yeah, 1,000.
Like the ancient wisdom of Awa, you know? It's like... unbelievable stuff. On the Spider front, let me ask you this. Now, maybe this is... maybe this prompt is null and void because even though you mentioned the like awareness of Spider was not really a part of your life until a couple weeks ago. But if I had asked you before we had sat down and watched this movie and seen it and we knew and we understood that Spider was, I would say, the protagonist of this movie, the center of the movie. If I had said to you like, okay, Joanna, across any franchise, any film, any work of creation.
Yeah.
Throw out there as many nominations as you can come up with for like most surprising character to orient a story around. How long would it have taken you to get to Spider?
Didn't you tell me like
I did. I was like, just heads up. He's the main
You're the one who
character
told me this
of
in
the
The Office, and it was a real, like, she can't be serious moment. And then I started watching the movie, and I was like, oh, no, he is. Right around when he got, like, covered by mossy mycelium, I was just like, yeah, he's the most special boy in all the world. And
it's both the MacGuffin air breather plot stuff, you know, the RDA, Giovanni Ribisi, Parker Selfridge character. You know, they want to be able to, like, take this mutation, this evolution of his DNA, and ensure that the human race can then occupy Pandora. And for everybody else, it's like, we can't let that happen. So he's the plot center, but he's also in many ways with Kiri's obsession with him and focus on him.
And Natiri's racism.
Death pursuit. Yeah. And then Jake nearly...
And Loak being like, he's my brother.
Yeah,
and
he's this emotional center of the movie too. And Quaritch,
are you telling me that it's
with him?
That interminable, like, the mask is counting down plot is only like an hour of this movie?
I think
it felt like 9 hours of my life. Spider,
that might be like 45 minutes, honestly. That's fine. Serious.
Who would you, if you were to remake this movie, who would you make the main character?
Loak. And I'd say he's like, Loak, who's
not
very present, but that to me it's one and the same. And that's part of why. Because
they're
I
brothers,
think they're brothers.
While watching this.
They're brothers, exactly. But I think that is...
wait, are you saying a boy and his bond to a magical creature
is a thing that I am here for?
It's the thing you are most interested in?
I know it's shocking for you and all of the bad babies to hear that.
Because I love a witch stuff.
Yeah.
If Chiri were just played by a person... and not a septuagenarian acting like a 12-year-old, but also an 1,000-year-old.
Oh my God, I'm dying right
now. Doing her damnedest to hump a white dreadlocked boy, while also humping the earth at various times. Head tail bonding with the earth.
Yep.
That can't be sanitary. Kiri would be my favorite character, but...
Okay. I mean, I feel like that's where we're heading with this, is that Kiri is actually like the central focus of where we're moving. That seems to be very interesting to Big Jim.
Sigourney? Maybe they don't even need her to be there anymore. They have enough, like, pixel, AI information.
This gets to something I wanted to ask you. On the Kiri Sigourney Weaver front, I want to know what your favorite thing... Because, like, you don't want to think about how... You just want to be lost. You want to be lost in the experience of watching the movie. You don't want to be thinking about how they're making the movie until you get to the phase of appreciating the craft. Okay. So now I ask you. What is your favorite thing to imagine, knowing how the movie's made, 76-year-old Sigourney Weaver doing while wearing a mocap suit and tiny dots all over her face? So I'm going to give you some contenders. You're free to add anything else you'd like. Orgasm whirling above a dying spider, okay? That's one. Kissing spider, just flat out kissing spider.
Why couldn't I just have had you reenact Fire and Ash for me?
It's not too late. I will once I have more confidence in the runtime markers and where every story beat actually occurs, I will reenact it.
I'm gonna need you to do the last hour, or to your mind, 2 hours of the movie for me.
All right. Orgasm whirling above a dying spider. Kissing spider, just full-on kissing spider. Shouting, and I gotta be honest, I think this one's tough to top. And this one got a not very generous, raucous laugh from everyone in the theater, I will say. I'm a clone? That really sucks. Pushing her way toward a giant floating face that I have to imagine was a tennis ball on set. Or, of course, hissing. Which of those is your favorite thing to imagine Sigourney Weaver in her mocap dots and suits?
Sorry, I just had to Google image search Sigourney Weaver behind the scenes so I could look more carefully at the mocap suit. Well, here's the deal. I was thinking about this a lot, actually, because obviously her face is mapped here. You can see Sigourney's face.
Oh, yeah. I continue to think that this part of it on the technology front is very good.
This is her voice performance.
Yes.
She is acting 12, but does not sound ever 12. Sounds like every single digitally de-aged person where it's just like, that's an old man. That's De Niro's old man voice. Yeah. Why is it coming out of this de-aged Irishman, like, etc.
Yeah.
But the agility that Kiri shows, with love and respect to however tight Sigourney has kept it these years, like there is an agility to that character that is simply not available to a 76-year-old body. So my question is, I mean, they had to have a body double too. So did they did they have to double film every single scene, sort of like as they did with Andy Serkis and Gollum, like where it's just like Sigourney does it one time and then the body double does it another time? That's, so they did with Will and young Will in the Stranger Things thing, right? Like Noah did it, and then the young boy that they hired to play a de-aged Will did it. I don't know. I just got tired watching that. I was like, all for what? Why couldn't we have just cast an actress in this role? Why not? By the way, there's an interesting link between Interview with a Vampire, because the reason that the original Claudia actor, I think the reason that the original Claudia actress couldn't be in season 2 is because she's in Avatar and she was busy filming Avatar.
Oh.
Isn't she like Kate Winslet's daughter, the Water Tribe girl?
She is. Rhea. Yep.
So
look at that.
Fucking up yet another thing, Avatar. What is my favorite thing? I think it's the orgasm whirling.
Has to be.
I would pay so much money to see the behind the scenes footage. Even if they did it again with a lither body, I'm sure they made Sigourney do this, and I would like to see it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I mean, we're not running. We're not jumping. We're just
grinding.
Swirling. Yeah.
And moaning.
A lot of moaning.
And trembling.
Quivering. Incredible.
Tumescently. Anyway.
Incredible stuff. Let's see. Did you have, dare I ask, a favorite set piece, battle sequence? Any of the action stuff like popped for you, or
well, so what I remember.
Yeah. Yep.
Is the attack on the airships. I definitely remember that because that happened in the first hour of the movie.
That was cool. That was my favorite, actually.
It seemed like there was like 3 different battles that happened at the end of the movie.
That stretch is, and again, some of it in isolation is very cool. I think the eclipse, we know how the cycle of time works on Pandora. Like the fact that you could get night inside of a day battle is like very cool visually. I just can't, to me, I think if you were to pick one detail to say like, we really ran it back, huh? Brendan Cowell's Captain Mick Scoresby coming back after, I thought, definitely dying in Way of Water when his arm is like cut off by the cable, and then he shoots
the bionic arm.
Yeah, and then he's just back, but with a bionic arm to do the exact same thing, which is like, now the Edie Falco character and the RDA like military arm is much more present in this movie, not in an effective way, I would say. But so the battle is bigger and more people are involved. But the fact that we're just like the guy who wants the whale brain juice is like
still
out
wants
at the front with a harpoon again. Yeah, it was very, 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 very strange.
What does RDA stand for? You can't just throw around RDA 900 times in this podcast and not know what it stands for.
That's the name of their company.
I know, but what does it stand for?
This is a good example of how with any other story, I'd be like, I need to know. And with Avatar, it's never occurred to me to find out. Never occurred to me to find out. But his dad, we know, is the chairman.
Sure.
Giovanni's dad is the chairman. And, there was the power struggle in this film where the general, Edie Falco's character, not only is she to Quarren, she's like, you've aligned with the locals, like you've lost the plot, you're out. And he's like, I'm going to come rescue you anyway. But then I'm going to align with Jake again. And then I'm going to tell a spider that he's dead to me and I should let him go, but I'm going to save him again.
Yeah. I remember all of this.
We have the conflicts between basically the corporate brass who are there to make money and mine, and the military arm who's like doing basically the like, the
Resources Development Administration is what RDA stands for.
Okay, so the unobtainium of a corporate name where it's just like
Resources Development Administration.
Sure.
Got it.
I thought the stretch at the base when they brought Jake back there was pretty bad. pretty bad, I gotta say. That was not the most compelling to me. Whale stuff go. Anything else on the Pyacon front that you'd like to add? I thought that, as usual, Pyacon was amazing. I thought that the introduction of Tanook, poor sweet injured Tanook, was very moving and sad.
What's
Blind
the difference
witness to their doom.
between the Tolkien are having like a elders meeting and they don't want to fight, but then guess what? They do come to fight.
Yes.
How is that not just the Ents running back the Ents?
I mean, what a generous comparison to make, frankly. I'm astonished. I can't believe you've invoked something that you hold in such esteem.
I don't know if you could call this a set piece, but plot-wise, I did enjoy the section where Jake and Quaritch have to like unite to find the kids.
Yeah,
right? They're like brief detente. But then they're like captured by the Ash tribe, and then immediately Quaritch is like, let me show this woman who has me captured how to work this gun. Because he wants to fuck her, I guess. But why would he give her that power?
I think initially it's like the practical, I will prove I have utility, right? And then immediately she's like, I don't need you anymore. And he's like, oh no. And then as they escape, and he's like, I'll bring you more stuff to prove that you more guns.
I'll give you more reason to be independent of needing me. Pyacon, let's go back to Pyacon. There's a moment when Pyacon gets banished.
Yes. Yeah.
And he turns his shoulder and he says, and you help me remember this, in papyrus font, you will never hear my song again.
Never again. Yeah. It's sad.
It's not because you know that that's not true, that he's definitely coming back before the movie's over, because there's still 9 hours of the movie left. So then it just like, you're like, what's the point of, you will never hear my song again. Slow shoulder turn, dramatic teenage exit for Pyacon. I laughed so loud and no one else in my theater was laughing.
I turned to Adam with like a, one of the like low quiver chin. So, but Pyacon, he's been outcast.
I know, they just call him outcast. It's just like his name.
Yeah, they're really.
These movies are so dumb.
Oh my God, that really got me. So this idea from The Way of Water, The Way of Water has no beginning or no end. I don't know if you remember that from the
that's how it
second
felt.
film.
That's definitely how it felt.
Oh my God. You're on fire. You're the fire at Ash today. My goodness. This tragedy, this absolute injustice that he has been outcast from the community for standing up to defend, the tragedy of the loss of his mother and everything that happened when he was a pup, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
And I do think there's an interesting thing to parse in the messaging of the story where it's real like, a war, let's go. But obviously there's something about defending your home and your family.
Pacifism is for pussies, don't you think? This is why war is good, actually.
See, this was a gift to you. You're having fun. You're having fun.
Sometimes you have to make your own fun,
Exactly. I will say, I thought that so this story of Pyacon and the Bond, it all orients around the idea that even though he did it for the right reason, the fact that he did it, he's not a part of this thing anymore. I thought that the way that they eventually convince the elders, I'm like, I know, I get it. They're bonded, the clan and the Tolkien, but kind of like, why do they care?
For someone who might have been...
The kids were like, I'm outcast too? Why would the elders care about that?
For someone who might have eaten too much THC at that moment, again, what do they do to get the whales back in? I remember the part where they all circle up.
Yes,
and it's like
then
a big thing.
They come in, and so Loak and the Met Kyena kids, so Rhea and the two boys, or all four of them are like,
good old
I and my
teal
brother.
flipper hands.
It's correct. Yes. the kids and their bonded Tolkien are all like, we'll be outcast too. And that seems to be compelling in a way that is a little surprising to me, because I don't know why they would, even though the bond of the community is, the bond with Piakon wasn't enough for them to care about sacrificing it. Kind of thought they'd be like, all right, well then fuck off.
Yeah.
But they didn't say that. I think also obviously seeing dear sweet Tanuk with all of the harpoon prongs and the balloons. And that was the blind witness to their end. Joanna, you were not moved to tears by that.
I don't
and
remember
of course
this
they were
happening.
moved. They were moved to action by seeing undeniably in front of them the horror, the atrocity that the sky people have inflicted with their metal. By the way, like you put metal in your hand thing, on the one hand, didn't make sense to me at all, I will say. Not at all. That Jake, in the same, not just stretch of the film, not just stretch of the film, moment, the same exact conversation, he's like, I'm not going to be Turuk Maktu again, because when you become the last shadow,
you become the beast.
You take the beast. You
ride the
heart.
beast, you become the beast.
And then he's like, I would really like everyone to start using these guns and exploding arrows. Didn't quite track the logic there, but I thought the way that they talk about like the guns, the metal, the bullets, very like Eli and Witness, you know. With the gun of the hand, you bring fear in this house.
You know the part that I really liked?
Tell me.
When the bow was broken and they remade it, I like a reforged weapon.
It's Loak. Another mark in Loak's favor. He's a great character.
That happened.
He's the heartbeat of the movie.
In the first hour? Was that in the first hour?
That's pretty early.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty early. I mean, they're like back in the, that's early. Well, but actually,
that's when they come back to the
taking it back.
Yeah.
Because they've discovered it early. And Jake's like,
get this shrapnel out of here.
Yeah, that's early when he's like, we're looking for guns. But then when it makes its way back to Natari, and she's like, your son has the ancestors in him.
Yeah.
That's later. Lovely stuff. What else? What, if anything, has this film taught you about marriage and family? Does House of R stick together? Does House of R never quit? Just like the Sullys? Can House of R live like this?
I feel like
in hate.
I feel like me being here for you.
That's our Sullys never quit. Sullys stick together.
Shows my dedication to you.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But also, did I come with a bad attitude? Yeah, so I apologize. I did not come with my heart open to the franchise. But I did want you to have the ability to talk about Piakon, or wait, hold on, Tanuk, a character I definitely remember.
Do you like any of the other magical creatures? Do you like the Ikran, the flying banshees? Did you like the new squid demons, the judgers of the deep?
You know who I liked? Yeah. I didn't like it. I don't care about any of that.
The skimwings? No.
Is that what they're? The trilobites that are flying the airships. And then when the airships get attacked and the ships are like really basically like dragging them down and they're like fluttering in the air. Yeah. I thought that was really good.
That was sad.
Sad, but like, I was compelled for the first time perhaps by a mythical creature inside of this land.
Okay, so you will not be day one joggers, slides, weed gummies, reclining seat in the theater in 2029.
I think I'm never having those weed gummies again, if I'm being honest with you. I had to sit in my car for a while after this movie was over.
No.
I was a short drive home, but I was like, I don't think I should for a minute. Will I be day one for Avatar for not unless you ask me to go with you like physically to the theater. I will sit next to you and hold your hand.
That'd be great. That would be great.
But I don't know if you want me there, because I'll be there and I'll hold your hand, but I'll also have a bad attitude. So, it's, if you want that, come and claim it.
If Avatar Fire and Ash was not a movie that I considered a modern masterpiece, just a movie I wanted to see and then talk about.
Yeah.
And we have. God damn it, we have.
No, we have. And do you feel like you got to talk about everything you want to talk about? Is there anything else that we should, like, lore-wise, character-wise, magical creature-wise?
I thought the baby was really cute. Prill, sweet little Prill, the baby. I
remember that part, and that happens late in the movie. And also Kate Winslet.
The swollen pregnancy tits. Holy shit.
Kate Winslet free from the Avatar franchise, and I was happy for her.
Oh,
I feel like she
you were
pulled
saying
a real Harrison Ford. No, not free titting. I felt she pulled up a real Harrison Ford where she was like, I'll do this, but you have to kill me so that I don't have to do it until I'm 76 like Sigourney Weaver.
I mean, she was in 2 of the 3. You know, she put in her time. So free from the franchise, not free. Like, okay. And so not the Renal pregnancy tits. Got it.
Do you, I mean, I'm happy to talk about those more if you want to. Do you think he's going to get Leo for 4 and 5, having now gotten Kate on board and Sigourney?
What would you want to see Leo do in the Avatar universe?
I want him to play a whale. I think he should play a whale. And Leo cares a lot about environmental preservation. So I think maybe we could talk him into it. You know what I mean?
Pyacon forms Pussy Posse 2.0 out in the open sea. Why not?
Did you have each of us saying pussy on this podcast on your holiday gift swap?
To be perfectly honest, I never rule it out.
It's not a word we fling around a lot, I would say.
I had fun today.
Good.
Thank you for doing this in the gift-giving spirit of holiday generosity and shared experience. You're a trooper.
You know what? You're welcome. I love you.
I love you
and I'm
too.
sorry it was this hard to get me to do my job.
Thank you to Carlos as well.
Yeah.
The best. We'll be without him for. I mean, what a compliment and what an honor and a well-deserved one. We'll be without Carlos over the Christmas week. We'll miss you,
Happy
Carlos,
holidays,
for the Stranger Things
Carlos
Volume 2.
Chiriboga.
Happy holidays. You're the best. And then we'll be back with you, I believe, for New Year's Eve. New Year's Day podcasting. Joe, who else do we need to thank?
Oh, Arjuna Ramgopowell, why not?
Always.
Our Pyacon and Jomi Adeniran, our Pyacon.
You just can't remember a single other character's name.